So welcome back to OctoCue. This is part 2 of a 3-part series showing the various OctoCue elements. In part 1 we looked at the show control interface, this fellow here, and also presenter clickers. In this part we're going to look at receivers, and in part 3 we'll look at the PowerPoint add-in. But this part is all about receivers. So what is a receiver? So a receiver machine is typically a PowerPoint machine. On a typical show you might have 1 or 2 machines running, maybe a main and backup pair. And these would be Windows machines which run PowerPoint and will also receive click data from OctoCue using the receiver app. So the first thing we need to do on our receiver machines is install the receiver app. And to do that we can go to the download section, download the latest version of the receiver app. I've already done that and I have it here on my desktop. So what we will do is go ahead and install that. Now the receiver app is up and running and it's asking us for a 5-character show code. Now this is how it knows which show it should be listening to, and it uses exactly the same 5 characters as the presenters used. So for my show here it's QKXV7. And when I connect it to that show, you'll see that some of the show information will appear in the receiver app, so we know we've got the correct show, and we have the show code and some more information about the link. We also have a card appear in the show controller interface here, showing us the machine name. So this machine that you're seeing here is called Nick Desktop, and more status information about this receiver. Now, you wouldn't normally run the receiver app and the show control interface on the same machine. The receiver app should be running on the PowerPoint machine, and we really want that machine to concentrate just on the PowerPoint show and receiving OctoCue clicks. So this show control interface would normally run on a completely separate machine, a laptop, an iPad, something else, allowing you to control your receivers remotely and also your presenters. If you try and run both of them on the same machine, focus might shift and clicks might get missed. It's not a great idea. So separate machines for the show control interface. Now the receiver app here obviously is receiving clicks, or will be receiving clicks from OctoCue, but most of the time this machine is going to be running PowerPoint predominantly. So we can actually close this window now. We don't need it open now that we've connected to the right show, and the machine will still receive clicks from OctoCue. If we need to get back to the receiver to change shows, we can see there's a little icon down here in the tray, and if we right click on that and open, it gets us back to where we were. That's also the place where if we want to quit the receiver app completely. Now, to start the receiver actually receiving clicks, we need to select this Start Receive button. Now the button appears in 2 places, and bear in mind these 2 things will often be on 2 different computers. The button does exactly the same thing in both situations. You can use whichever one is most convenient for you depending on how you're controlling your show. Now if we open up to Start Receiving, we get the option to display hide notes on clickers or with no live notes. Now this relates to the functions that the PowerPoint add-in gives us, and we'll go into this in part 3 of these videos. So for now we're going to start receiving with no live notes. When we do that we can see the bar goes red. Also our card over here now shows us that we are actually receiving, so receiving is on. And if we activate John's clicker here, John is on a completely separate machine, he's on a Mac over in the corner, and he starts clicking. We can see clicks being received in John's card here. We can see clicks in the current action up here, and we can also see clicks arriving on the receiver app over here. Now those clicks will continue to arrive even if we close this window, and now John will be controlling any PowerPoint that's on this machine. Now to show that, let's dig up some PowerPoint. I have a sample PowerPoint presentation here. If we put this into slideshow mode and we're on slide 1, if John clicks forwards, we move to slide 2, and again we can click forward and back, and these clicks are coming from a completely separate machine controlling the PowerPoint deck through OctoCue. So that's how the receiver app controls PowerPoint and how to connect it to an OctoCue show. In part 3 we'll look at the PowerPoint add-in and the notes and slide number functionalities that that brings. I look forward to seeing you there.